All right, let's get started, and let's first open up this little bar on the side because I forgot to do it before. Anyway, so we got the safe here. We want to simulate it. Now, looking at it, we see that we have packed alembic pieces. Now, these packed alembics will work in a rigid body simulation, but the alembic aspect of it will make it a little dicey. It will cause some problems, some viewport problems sometimes even. It's better to just convert them into regular packed geometry. So to do that, I'm first unpacking it, keeping the path attribute, as you can see here, under the primitive heading. The path attribute is important because it stores the original name of the piece and the piece hierarchy within the alembic file. In fact, if I were to minimize this again, I go into the selection mode with an S, click on this or a 9, and you can see if path isn't already selected here, you can always go to the gear and select path, like you can see. And so those are all the names broken down by their hierarchy. So we want to maintain that as the point. So we transfer the path to the primitive thing, and then we immediately turn around and make another pack and pack it back up. And we're going to pack it, turn off the path attribute here, use the path here to actually create the same 39 pieces that we had before, except now, instead of packed alembic, they're packed fragments. And we want to keep that path attribute. So we can be sure that they are the same there that it was when it was alembic. Here it is as the packed fragments, and everyone's happy. Cool. So I'll drop a null down, and that's out. So I'm going to do my simulation in a different geometry node. So turn that off, drop the geometry node down here. We'll call it safe sim. We'll make it purple to denote that this is a node that has a simulation in it, because it will. But for now, I'm going to object merge in that safe, get safe. And we're going to say, what do we want there? Well, it's this out. Import that into here. So there it is. So now we have it. Now let's set up some simulation properties on it using an attribute wrangler. This is going to make some key settings that Bullet understands available as point attributes. So one of those is I equals active, or rather integer active is 1. So if you press insert, you can see that it will actually, I need to go into the point mode for this. When you press insert on the keyboard, look down here in the geometry spreadsheet. There it is. You can see it evaluates the wrangler. So I can watch this stuff update in real time by keeping that window open. Now, I do want it to be 1. So iActive is 1, meaning that it will be simulated. I'm going to say animated is 1 as well, although we probably won't end up using that in case we, well, actually, we definitely want to use that. We'll want to have the safe move up into the air later on and actually have the door swing open and stuff. So we're going to have to animate it moving into the air. Now we can have it be animated as 1 here, but also be active here. If it's active, it's going to ignore the animated value. But once active is equal to 0, then the animated value will take over. What else we need? We need names. So we'll say s at name, although in truth, you don't actually need to put the s at. I will this time though. So s at name equals s print f. And basically we're going to say, we'll call every piece of the safe something like safe %d, and then we'll replace the %d with whatever the current point number we're iterating on. So what does that look like? Well, again, this is something we've done in many lessons now, but just so you can see, there they are. Safe 0 because it's 0.0, safe 5 because it's safe 5, and so on. Finally, I want to make a thing called a collision group and then tell it to ignore that same collision group. The point of this is going to be, I don't want any of the safe pieces to collide with any other safe piece. So we're going to say collision group is equal to collision ignore, which is equal to something, which we'll just call safe. So you can see we initialized both of these attributes to the same value, just saved us a line. Again, the point of this is that Bullet recognizes this attribute to mean that, hey, you're in this group called safe? Great. Oh, you also have a collision ignore, and that says to ignore safe, though everything is ignoring everybody else collision-wise. Later on when we make our chains, of course, we're going to want the chains to interact with the safe, but the safe we're going to control it pretty well, and I don't want to waste any bullet time on that. Wonderful. So there we go. So that's all set up. We'll just call it something like sim properties. And there you go. And I'll make a null here, and we'll call it pieces. And there we go. And now I'm going to immediately say, okay, well, we've got our bare minimum that we need really for a simulation here. So we'll just call this RBD sim or something like that. Dive in. And what do we want here? Well, we're going to want our good friends packed object, and that's going to have to point to the pieces thing. We'll do export relative path. That way it's just dot dot to the pieces area above it here. So we'll do that. We need a rigid body solver. We need a ground maybe for it to interact with. We'll need gravity to pull it down to the ground. And we'll need a merge to actually have it know to collide the ground with this. So if you press play, there we go. Wonderful. I mean, it's not wrong. It's just a whole bunch of little pieces being weird and not colliding with each other because we told them not to. So we can do this a lot better, I think.